Just the other day, I was raiding with my kids again, and then one of them said to me, "Hey Dad, now that we've finished the game, do you think FF14 has peaked?" Well, that got me thinking. The story is done. What else is left? Now, there's lots of gameplay to do, but we know what happens. We know everything we need to know about Ascians and about Hydaelyn and Zodiark. Everything's been answered, the universe has been saved. The whole process was very satisfying. But is it true? Did 14's story peak? Is Final Fantasy only destined to go downhill from here? With new games coming out, well, perhaps that's true. Can we save the universe yet again? This is a formula that's been proven before, but with the 13-year buildup that this game has had, can they really do it again? I'm a gamer, and personally, for me, the most important thing is story. Me and my kids love story. We have adventures, obviously, in games like Fortnite, and we do Deep Rock Galactic. But when it's come to Final Fantasy XIV, for us, it really is about the story, about the Ascians, about Zodiark and Hydaelyn, about the Warrior of Light, all the characters that we got to know through the years. So for us, now that their story is over, is there more to tell? Well, there is. But there are some things that do concern me. I'm a sucker for story. Because I love story so much, this affects me with the movies I watch, the TV shows, even the things I watch on YouTube. This is why I love dumb classics like The Sixth Sense. I watched this in theaters, and nobody saw that coming. And even the latest season of Picard. I really enjoyed the way it ended, the way they brought everyone together. Now, I'm usually a pretty optimistic guy, but I've been around the bend a few times, and I know how things really work. As a person that runs his own business, when someone steps away to do something else, doesn't necessarily mean that they're done, but that they just want to try new things. Yoshi P stepping into the role of producer for Final Fantasy XVI, I think is amazing. The trailers look incredible. I only wish it was coming out on PC, at least at the same time as the PS5. Now, for me to get a PS5 for one game, that's got to be a pretty exceptional game. And it is looking like it's an exceptional game. Yoshi P is really doing a great job. And Soken doing the music does look amazing. But the thing that concerns me isn't the game itself. The game is going to be wonderful. What concerns me is when a producer starts dividing his time between multiple projects. If he's been focused on 14 as he has been for the last 10 years, almost exclusively, with a few special thanks and credits for things like that, this move does make me a little nervous. Now, no one should be stuck doing one thing forever, but it does speak that if the story is finished, we're going to step into new things. Coincidentally, him moving into a new thing, and a person who's also has interests that change throughout the years, sometimes you get bored of doing the same thing. It's not a knock, it's just reality. So for him to dive into the role of producer for 16, I think it's great. But that doesn't necessarily bode well for 14. What's the next game that he's going to produce? Where else does he want to go? He has been quoted as saying that he would like to make his own MMO. And for me, that'd be great. It just leaves you thinking, well, what's going to happen to 14? Another reason I'm concerned is the amount of content creators and people online that are actually leaving the space. People feel that the story is finished, they've invested all this time, and they want to try something new. Once again, totally good, totally fine. I also play other games. If people feel it's over, then it's over. There's no harm in that. But the thing is, people come and go. Old people leave, new people come. And that's a positive factor. It's just a change. And change is good, but sometimes change can be difficult. And we all have to agree that FF14 is a rather old game. The content that they have in there can get a little stale. They're bringing out new graphics, they're going to bring out new types of ways of doing dungeons. The Island Sanctuary is cool, but it wasn't what I expected. The gameplay is still relatively the same. The story is very linear. With people's decisions to want to play a game with more choice, especially games that are coming out now, you have to wonder, will the formula for FF14 continue to last? Now that we've reached the pinnacle of the story, we have to look at this realistically and say, okay, is something better going to be coming along? Or is it time to maybe consider playing something else? It's concerning to me because even games like RTSs or 2D platformers were at their best and then eventually got replaced with something new. Can FF14 continue to survive with all these new games, new technologies? Now, they have promised better graphics and they have promised new content, but the game is still relatively the same. Once you get new graphics in there, can they really change the gameplay? Now, I like the gameplay, but sometimes you also want something new. Now, realistically, there's also some reasons that I'm not too worried. Yoshi P has said that he's got another 10 years in him for this game and 10 years of worth of content. Now, for me, that's positive. But is that 10 years of growth or is that 10 years maintaining? I don't think it's going to be 10 years of decline, but we just don't know yet. Are people going to be excited to try to save the universe again? Or is it going to be a storyline that seems to be smaller? A storyline that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to save the universe, but perhaps something else that you have to save. Plus, Yoshi P has a track record of pulling something out of the muck and making it better, which he certainly did here. Times are changing, games are changing, people are changing. FF14 needs to evolve in a manner that will get new players involved, new players wanting to join in. Does that mean that it's going to be difficult like Destiny players have for new players to start? You have to buy so much content for Destiny 2 to catch up to what's going on. It's almost impossible. Same with World of Warcraft, but now that so many things have gone by, it's hard to know where to start. It's hard to know how to get into the game today. With 14, you start at the beginning and you work your way through hundreds of hours of content. Does that mean 7.0 you'll be able to start from scratch, being that the story is over? Now, whether FF14 is peaked or not, for me, my interest will stay. It isn't going to be the same as what it was because for me, the story has come to a conclusion. Do the next 10 years excite me and what he's got planned? Sure, but does it concern me as well when he himself is starting to do other things? Well, maybe, because can FF14 survive without Yoshi P? That'll be the test. And for me, when it comes to story, story is king. But that's just what I think. I'd like to know what you think. Do you think that FF14 has peaked? Are FF14's best days still ahead of it? Do you think that there's actually still more story to tell? Do you think that maybe I'm off my rocker? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think.